Hey y'all, this is part 2 of my story about my call story, so to speak. Speaking of call stories, I want to compile a book of call stories. Been wanting to since I was in theology school 10 years ago. Because everybody's story is different, and none of them. I've never heard another person tell me a story that was like Paul's getting knocked off the donkey and the light shining, Jesus talking to him. Haven't heard that. Haven't heard a call story like the burning bush, because that was a call. God talked directly at Moses through this bush that was on fire. So I've been thinking I'm going to compile a book that's called Not Like Shrubs on Fire. I like puns. Not Like Shrubs on Fire, Untraditional Call Stories or something. Because my story, it's not dramatic like some people's. Some people go from being a street hustler, drug dealer to being a pastor. You know, they got this big dramatic switch in their life. I don't have the dramatic switch. Where was I though in my story? I had just left the United Methodist Church. We started going to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Seventh-day Adventist is a big change, big transition. Not as big as some denominations, but it's a big change, and it's so much smaller. The church we went to was the local. I say local church because the denomination is national still, but the local church was like 40 people versus the church we were going to, First United Methodist of Leavenworth, like 300 people. I mean, that's a big deal to me. I mean, it was. Well, we were at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Shiloh. Shiloh's the name of that little church. I was kind of the fill-in preacher for 7 or 8, 6 or 7, I don't know how many. A lot of times, I filled in for our pastor when he was going to be out of town. Took turns. Another deacon and myself. I was considered a deacon, which I didn't have to go to school for that, or there was no special appointment. I just started doing it, and I was considered a deacon. I was a fill-in preacher, and I was pretty good at it. Preaching, you preach the word. This was 8 years ago, so I was pretty good at it, but wasn't great at it because, well, I've grown up a lot. But it's kind of what people have told me, in show business, go break a leg, and they feel this rush when they get off stage. I feel kind of energized, feel the rush, and so maybe maybe my flesh is telling me that I'm doing the wrong thing whenever I want to preach, but I also, man, lately, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Going back to then, okay, that a couple years went by in that church. We're active, blah blah blah. But we moved to Tulsa, and the reason why we were coming down here was because, one, I wanted to be close to my family. Two, I wanted a full-time job. I was part-time at the Walmart I was at. Mostly because I wanted to be close to my parents. Really kind of weird. I guess I'm more of a mama's boy than I thought. But when we moved down here, before we came down here, I called the conference. Yeah, the Seventh-day Adventists is broken into conferences, not committees. That is conferences. Every denomination has something. So I called the conference office and asked them if they would recommend a church for me, because I want to stay within the denomination, but I wanted to move, and I'm coming down there. And you know what I was asked? Are you black? no. I didn't really think it would matter, but it did. Back in the 60s or whenever, the Seventh-day Adventist Church split into the white church and the black church. And what I found out was the church that we went to was predominantly not the same race that I am, but mostly darker people than me. But I found out that we were going to a black church. When we came to Tulsa, it would matter because, well, Tulsa's bigger, and so I didn't know where to go. Whenever I came down here that first week, I just started looking in the phone book. And then so I found South Tulsa Adventist Fellowship. It's a big church. It's big. And they have golf carts, red carpet, out to the parking lot, and you're like, wow, this is really cool. They offer breakfast and lunch on Saturdays. So I get there at like 7 o'clock or whatever and eat breakfast, and then go to Bible study, and then go to worship, and then go to lunch there at the church. And I thought that's really cool. But that was kind of all that was keeping me there. Now, I go to Guts. You know this, or most people know this, that I'm very active at Guts. And for years, we had been visiting Guts when we came to Tulsa, but we didn't live here, so we'd been visiting because my sister was a member, and she bought us Express Pass tickets to the Nightmare in 2009. And for those of you that don't know what the Nightmare is, whoa! I'm gonna vlog a lot just specifically about the Nightmare because it's awesome. It's a true to life walkthrough with a lot of scary scenes. It's not just a haunted house. It's not just guys with pitchforks jumping out and stuff like that. But it's got a lot of true to life scenes. Of course, there are demon rooms where there's demons and scary guys, with gore and stuff. But true to life, meaning like there's been a shooting room and car crash room, a drug room, alcohol room. People, when you make the wrong choices in your life, bad things happen to you. And it's kind of like the Nightmare. It's just, you better make the right choice, kid, because something scary is gonna happen. It's I like to say it's a haunted house with a salvation ending, because the last room is a crucifixion room. But that's just the last Nightmare. Then Sunday comes. So in the final, it's not really a room. Well, it is a room, but it's not one of our dramatic rooms. It's a room. We've got a screen up, and our pastor has a recorded message that he puts on there. He just says, "Look, that's not the end. Come to church on Sunday, and we'll be with you." And blah blah blah. We're there for you, and all that good stuff. Oh man! Since we went to the Nightmare 2009, we have not gone to another church. And Guts is it's done a lot for me. It really, spiritually, but I still feel something inside. There's still something that's talking. You need to run a church. You need to, telling me that I need to get out there because, see, a pastor has a lot of responsibility on his plate, because he's under shepherd for, I'm gonna go to 10 minutes again. I'm gonna have to record a part 3. God.